my friends, welcome to another episode of Nintendo Nightcap, bringing you all the latest Nintendo news, and today's no different because we got a big story in the form of Nintendo once again facing the threat of piracy. Or does it? Of course it doesn't, because just like every other time in the past, it has crushed its opponents, this time being Tropic Haze, the developers behind the software Yuzu. What is Yuzu? You've probably heard about it in the last few days. It is a piece of software allowing players to hack, to emulate Nintendo games, in some cases to download games before they've been released by circumventing Nintendo Switch's protection. That is what has happened. Nintendo, though, presented them with a 41-page document, taking them to court. And what did Tropic Haze do? They folded like a cheap suit. Yes, they did, because as of today, they have settled with Nintendo, but they have to pay Nintendo $2.4 million. Not just that, Nintendo now owns their domain, owns all of their software, all of their keys, all of their websites, owns everything to do with Yuzu. They have to close down shop and walk away and pay those $2.4 million, let's not forget. But of course, they did come out with a statement earlier today on their Discord, and this is what those shameless rats had to say for themselves. We write today to inform you that Yuzu and Yuzu support of Citra are being discontinued effective immediately. Citra, by the way, is their 3DS emulation software. Yuzu and its team have always been against piracy, you lying rats. We started the project in good faith, out of passion for Nintendo and its consoles and games, and we are not intending to cause harm. But we see now that because our projects can circumvent Nintendo's technological protection measures and allow users to play games outside of authorized hardware, they have led to extensive piracy. In particular, we have been deeply disappointed when users have used our software to leak game content prior to its release and ruin the experience for legitimate purchasers and fans. We have come to the decision that we cannot continue to allow this to occur. Piracy was never our intention, and we believe that piracy of video games and on video game consoles should end. Effective today, we will be pulling our code repositories offline, discontinuing our Patreon accounts and Discord servers, and soon shutting down our websites. We hope our actions will be a small step toward ending piracy of all creators' works. Thank you for your years of support, for understanding our decision. So there you go. That was the statement made by Tropic Haze. The shutdown of Yuzu has begun. All assets, all websites, all software ends today. So Nintendo was always going to clamp down as hard as it could. They're no strangers to this. Let's not forget Gary Bowser, who Nintendo sent to prison and sued him for $10 million. Remember him? He went to prison. He's out of prison now, but he still owes Nintendo $10 million. And if you're wondering how much of that $10 million he has paid Nintendo back, let me tell you, he has paid them back the grand total of $176 from the job working in the kitchen in the prison that he had. So the moral of the story is, don't mess with Nintendo. They will come looking for you, trust me. But joking aside, of course there are wider discussions to be had around this, because, emulation per se is not, in a wider sense, illegal, and there is a very legitimate discussion to be had about game preservation. That's a very hot topic and something for another day, but it's a very legitimate topic to be had. But in the case of piracy, this is just something Nintendo is always going to be dealing with, not just Nintendo but other companies. And it did get me thinking about the fight with piracy going forward, and I was led to an old interview with Iwata, the old, God bless his soul, Nintendo president, who had this to say about Nintendo's fight with piracy, and I think it's very important looking forward. He said, as for specific measures, we have two ways, technological and legal measures, Iwata explained. They tend to become a cat and mouse chase, as the piracy itself is underground. Someone somewhere finds out the solution to evade our measures. When we shut one hole of the mice, they have dug a new one somewhere else. We have acknowledged that this is an endless battle, and we believe the best measure is to keep fighting it technologically and legally. That, I think, perfectly sums up the constant battle Nintendo and others have with the world of piracy, and it's never going to change, and Nintendo is always going to go hard and protect its IP. But my good friends, that is the end of another video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I will of course be back tomorrow with more Nintendo news. So until then, my good friends, have an awesome day, and I'll catch you soon. Bye!